Today we're going to take a look at using CircleCI to drive DeployHub's continuous deployment process. So what we're going to start with is how our little project here, which is called our uptime demo. And as you can see in here, we have our CircleCI folder, and with it we have our config.yaml. So the steps that we're going to do are going to be an approve, a move, and a deploy. Let's go ahead and take a look at some more details here from the CircleCI Orb registry. So when we talk about doing an approval, the DeployHub supports a gated approval model, and you can put this in place at any point in the pipeline that you want to. In this case, we're having an approval being needed in order to get out of the development stage of the pipeline and move up to our next stage, which is integration. So as that, we just need a couple parameters. We need to know which application that we're going to be moving, application version that we're going to approve, and that will go ahead and make that approval on the DeployHub side from the CircleCI Orb. So after we do the approval, we're going to go ahead and move the job. We're going to execute the move job, and this is going to move our uptime war version from the development stage of the pipeline to the next stage of our pipeline, which is going to be integration. And you'll see here we have a couple different parameters. We have the same application version we have in the approval, but then we need to know where we're going to move it from, and the move task is going to say where we're going to move it to. So this is basically your promote demote of the application version through the pipeline tree. And finally, after we get the application version moved up to integration, we're going to go ahead and perform a deployment. In this case, we're going to take, again, the application version that we've been working with in the previous two steps. But in addition, we're going to take which environment we're going to deploy to. So on the DeployHub side, for a single stage of the pipeline, you can have multiple environments defined. You can break this down at the project team level, or based on the functionality of a server farm. That type of organization, we call it an environment. So those are going to be the steps that we're going to execute. We'll go ahead and take a look at the DeployHub side, the application that we're going to be working with today. So here's our application version, which is version 12. It includes a couple components. One's the JDK that we're going to install using Ansible Playbook. Follow that by another component, which is version 1 of our Tomcat, and finally our war file that we're going to be actually deploying into this configuration. Now, one of the things that we're going to see as part of this deployment process is when we deploy to integration, I actually have it set up to fail the deployment. I'm doing this on purpose to show that we'll get successes and failures pushed back to CircleCI, and that we can stop the workflow at that point. So let's go ahead and let's make a change. We'll delete these few lines here. We'll move our comment in. So let's go ahead and make our change. We'll do our push, and then we'll go ahead and look at the CircleCI as the trigger happened. So we can see here that we're working with deploying version 12. This is the approval part of the job, and that was successful. We can actually see the output here that our approval was made, and then from there we're going to go up to the next stage, next step, which is going to be doing our move. So we did our move here. And if we look at the output, our move was successful. So we were able to move from in development into integration. And then finally, like I said, we're going to do our deployment, and this one's actually going to fail. We can see that the deployment actually started, and it went out to go off and start working with Ansible. And what ended up happening is the server that we're targeting is not running. And because of that, we return back to CircleCI, both the success and fails, and allow us to do the decision making on what to do next as part of that process for our pipeline. So if we go to DeployHub and we take a look at our applications here, we can see that version 12 is no longer there. It's been moved over to integration. And again, we have a mirror of the log over on the DeployHub side as well. So we can see our application approval, who approved it and when, our movement from development into integration, and then our deployment. And again, we can get to the same log information from either the CircleCI or from the DeployHub side. So this makes it very easy to keep track of. You can go to either place and find out what's going on with the deployment process. So with that, that wraps up our CircleCI integration as part of the between DeployHub and our CircleCI Orb. Normally, obviously we would go ahead and build this out to go all the way across the pipeline. So depending on where you want the automation put in place, you can drive that and have a continuous deployment process be triggered from the development side. You do your build there, you deploy to development. If your testing is good, then you go out to integration, and then from there, if testing is good, we deploy again to our testing environment, like our QA environment. We go through that testing, and once that's completed, we make it out to production as part of that process. And you can see some of my past deployments I've done where I've moved all the way through the pipeline for our Tomcat Uptime War application. So this gives that complete control and automation from development all the way out through production. In addition, these stages of the pipeline, you can, in DeployHub, you can name these whatever you want, and you can have as many steps in the pipeline as part of the process. Well, thank you very much for taking a look at our DeployHub CircleCI Orb.